Hey, what's going on, people? I hope y'all are doing well. Today, we're checking out the Panasonic W95A, which was created in partnership with Amazon, and it happens to be a significant release for Panasonic. This is because they withdrew from the US in 2014, not long after exiting the plasma TV market. The W95A was released in September 24. Yes, I'm late to the party, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it's been nearly a decade since Panasonic launched a TV here in the States. For this release, Panasonic delivered two different panel types, including a mini LED and an OLED panel. The model that I have is the 65-inch mini LED version, and let me tell you, for the price, it's a pretty hard TV to beat. But before I tell you all about it, I do need to let you know that Amazon sent out the W95A and is also sponsoring this video. So this is not a review. Instead, it's more of a feature breakdown with a little bit of my experience and thoughts sprinkled in. If that sounds good to you, grab a snack, pop open a drink, and let's dive in, beginning with a look at its design. The bezels along the top and sides are very small for a TV in this class, and while the bottom is definitely more pronounced, it's nothing to complain about. It's made of sturdy materials, including a metal frame and strong plastics. Although the stand or feet may not have the best aesthetic, they are made of aluminum and feel very solid. It weighs around 53 pounds without the stand and 57 pounds with. It's also relatively compact when compared to other 65-inch TVs on the market. It has a width of 57 inches, a height of 32.8 inches, and a depth of 2.8 inches without the stand and 12.5 inches width. The stand offers about 3 inches of clearance, so smaller soundbars should be able to fit underneath the TV. If a stand isn't your cup of tea, it also supports standard 400 by 300 millimeter VESA mounting as well. As for the inputs, the W95A has two HDMI 2.0 ports, two HDMI 2.1 ports, with one of them supporting eARC. There's also two USB ports, one 3.0 and one 2.0, an optical digital audio output, and an Ethernet port. And it also supports Wi-Fi 6E. Overall, I'm impressed with the build quality and the look of the W95A. As I said in the beginning, Panasonic partnered with Amazon for their return to the US market. This means that the OS on board is, of course, Amazon Fire TV. Now, whether you like this interface or not is obviously subjective. Personally, I like it and I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. I find it to be a genuinely good experience overall. Now, I did see a few complaints about ads being displayed on the homepage, but I'm willing to let this slide if it means that the price of the TV is going to be cheaper. It's like when Amazon offers two versions of their Kindle, one with ads that is more affordable and one without ads that's slightly more expensive. Plus, other TV manufacturers also include ads in their interface, such as Samsung, and their closest competitor to this TV is nearly double the price. And I'm not trying to say this to, downplay what people are complaining about, but I do think that it's more understandable in the case of the W95A. The main idea of Amazon's TV interface is to highlight your most watched apps, movies, and shows and place them front and center so you can spend less time searching for the things that you enjoy the most. In fact, you know what? Let's just do a quick tour of the interface in real time so you can check it out for yourself. So right off the bat, you can see I have all of my favorite streaming services right here. If this isn't the order that you want, you can reorder it by going into this option over here with the box and the 3 boxes and the plus symbol. This will take you to all of the streaming services that are installed on the TV. And to organize it, you just press and hold on one, and then you can drag it around like so. If you want to download a streaming service or an app that isn't already installed on the TV, you can go into the App Store here. Here you can download various other streaming services and live TV options as well as games, which is really cool. So you can connect a controller to this and play games. Now, if I scroll down, we have different types of content that's recommended based on the content that you've already viewed on the TV. Then we have continue watching, recently used apps, recommended free movies and TV shows. And then if I keep going down, it's just various other options. If I go all the way over to the settings and dive into here, we have various settings like our inputs, notifications, and profiles. So profiles is really cool because you can create different profiles for different family members in your household. And those family members can customize their own home screen. Or if you have children in the house and you want to put restrictions on certain things, you can do that as well. If I go back to the settings here, We have our account and profile settings, network settings. Under live TV, this is where you can view all of your live TV sources. So whether you have an antenna hooked up to the TV, you're using YouTube TV, Direct TV, or other various services, you could check it all out right here. And if I go back to the home screen and then go right here to live TV, you can view your channels here or things that you viewed, or you can go to guide and get an idea of what's currently playing depending on the service that you're using. So if I go back to the main settings here, display and sound settings, this is where you can tweak your picture settings, your sound settings, your screen settings. This TV also has Apple AirPlay and HomeKit support, which is really cool. Something that you typically don't see in TVs in this price range. So I'm glad to see that that's there. So if you're not using an iOS device and you can't take advantage of the AirPlay support, that's okay. If you're on Android, just go into display mirroring, toggle that on, and you should be able to use it that way. Or you could always use Miracast. We also have our ambient experience, which is really cool. So if you're a big fan of, say, like the Apple TV and the aerial motion and wallpapers that they use, you're going to love this. We'll come back to that in a little bit, though. Then last but not least, we have Mattercasting, which is always nice to see, especially, again, on a TV in this price range. All right, so going back to the main settings page here, we have our Amazon Assistant settings, preferences. If we go into here, we have things like parental controls, power LED, privacy settings, and just your basic run-of-the-mill settings that you would find on the majority of TVs out there. Going back, we have our sleep timer. Device and software is where you can update the firmware on your TV. You can also perform like self-test, put it in sleep, restart it, and then our reset to factory default settings. Accessibility and help. Let's go ahead and dive into the ambient mode. And you could do that by pressing and holding on the power button. Now that's how you do it by default. You can adjust this inside of the ambient settings, which you can access when you're on your ambient page here. Just tap on the three little lines on the remote. And from here, you can change your background. You can learn a little bit more about the background that you're using. You can add widgets, and then you can go into ambient preferences. So if I go into that, you can adjust the different size of the widgets that are being displayed. You could also choose whether or not the widgets are going to be displayed as soon as you start ambient mode or they're hidden. You can add a border. You have different color borders that you can apply. You have your background image. So if you don't want an image at all and you only want to display widgets, you could just turn off the background image. You could change the background. So if I go into here, we have our options. You could use your own personal photos. There's featured collections, and then you have My AI Art. So you can actually create different AI photos right on your TV and then save those as backgrounds and wallpapers. It's really cool. Let me show you. So let's go head back to our ambient mode right here. If I pull up the widgets, you can see we have a widget right here for AI art. It says try AI art. So if I go into that, it gives me a prompt. If I want a different prompt, I can do suggest another. So we'll do it a few times and then choose this one. Make a picture of a fiery furred wolf running swiftly. Go ahead and create. It does take about a minute for it to produce a few images, so be patient. All right, so we have our images. We have 4 different ones to choose from. If you happen to not like any of them, you can go under see more and it will generate 4 more. But these are our options. We'll go ahead and select the first one. You can see that looks pretty good. Like, I'm okay with that. Try the next one. Again, that's pretty cool looking. You can see it has 2 different color eyes. Pretty cool for a wallpaper. If you're happy with it, you can just save it to your collection and it will save it to your AI artwork collection. If I go back, up at the top, we could choose a different style. So if you're looking for something maybe like woodcut painting, you could add that to the prompt, and then it's going to generate 4 more images using that specific style. Now, if you want to create an image from scratch and not rely on the suggested prompts, you could do that simply by holding down the Amazon Alexa button on the remote and asking her to create one for you. So check this out. Alexa, create an image of a wolf riding a bicycle in a field chasing a sheep. All right, so here's our images. We have the first one here of a wolf on a bicycle running into a sheep. Then we'll check out this one, which looks like the opposite of what I asked for, but still pretty funny. We have a sheep chasing a wolf on a bicycle. Then we have a wolf about to run into, it looks like a goat instead of a sheep, but again, still funny. And then last but not least, we have the image that I was looking for. We have a wolf on a bicycle chasing a sheep. And if you're happy with the image, you get to save it to the collection, and you can always apply those anytime you want. A quicker way to change the background in ambient mode is just to go to change background in the side settings here, so you don't have to go into ambient preferences if you don't want to. So we'll go ahead and tap on change background, and it brings us to that same interface. A few other options we have here are dynamic art, which is still an animated wallpaper, but it's like liquefied. Then we have our regional motion, which this is more similar to what you'll find on like an Apple TV, for example. Down here, we have more of our still or photography style wallpapers. And again, just tons of options to choose from here. The last thing that I want to talk about in ambient mode are the widgets. So if you don't see them by default, all you have to do is just tap the up button and then it will pull them up. So we have our various widgets here, which we kind of already talked about, like our AI widget, the weather widget. But one in particular that I want to talk about right now is the smart home favorites. So if I select that, it's going to pull up my smart home hub, which is a list of all of the devices that I have linked to Amazon's smart home ecosystem, which is the one that I use. So I have all of my cameras here, including my driveway, my Ring Video doorbell, my Eufy cameras, even access to other various Echo devices that are around my house that also have cameras on them. So I can pull up my Ring Video doorbell here, and it will give me a live view feed of my front porch. What's really cool is if someone were to approach my door or ring my doorbell while the TV is on, it will pull up this screen, giving me a view of who's at my door, as well as the opportunity to answer that notification. And using the mic on the remote, I can talk to that person. Now, it should come at no surprise how well this is implemented, considering Amazon has one of the largest smart home platforms in the world, and this is running Amazon Fire TV OS. But I just love how well it's implemented and how easy it is to use. Not only do I have access to all the cameras around my house, but also other Echo devices that happen to have cameras on them, such as the Boom Boom Room one that I have in my master bedroom. I also have access to different groups, lights, plugs, switches, even my thermostat. So I can access my entire smart home right here on this TV, which is awesome. The last thing I want to talk about is a shortcut button on the remote. So towards the bottom of the remote, you'll notice a square with an arrow. You can set this up to do various different things. So for instance, I have mine set up to give me the weather. So if I press it, it's not only going to tell me the weather, but it's going to show me the weather. But if you don't want this, just press and hold on that button, and it's going to pull up a menu where you can select different things. So these are recent commands that I've done. So the voice command that I did for the AI image is there. I also have other voice commands that I've recently done. I can use it to open YouTube. I can view other apps. And then if I go under more actions, I have things like switch inputs, game control board, which we'll go ahead and select. So now if I press it, it's going to pull up the game control board. So a lot of customization here with that button, and I like to see it. Now that you're a little bit more familiar with the interface, let's talk about what most of you are here for, the entertainment experience, beginning with the picture. The Panasonic W95A that I have is a 65-inch 144Hz mini LED TV. It's really bright with a max brightness of 1500 nits. This not only makes it easier to view in rooms with a lot of natural or artificial light by reducing glare, but it also means it's a great TV for HDR content. It supports Dolby Vision IQ and HDR10+. It has 192 local dimming zones, and it's capable of producing a beautiful image with plenty of highlight and shadow detail, while also providing rich colors and contrast. Of course, none of this would be possible without the HCX Pro AI processor Mark II, which is optimizing picture and sound quality in real time, and it's also using AI to adjust picture and sound for specific content, such as sports and gaming. Also, since this is a premium mini LED panel, you can expect great viewing angles of around 178 degrees vertical and horizontal, which is another benefit to the high brightness it's capable of outputting. Personally, I really enjoyed watching movies and TV shows on this TV. Not only that, but gaming is incredible. This is in part due to the 144Hz refresh rate, but also because this TV supports AMD FreeSync. It has several features on board that will help provide a smoother gaming experience, such as Game Mode Extreme. This basically works in tandem with AMD FreeSync in order to provide an optimized gaming experience by lowering latency and supporting high frame rates along with variable refresh rates. There's even a built-in game control board for quick access to game settings and information while you're playing those games. Lastly, let's talk about the audio quality on the W95A. It features a 50-watt 2.1 channel speaker system that supports Dolby Atmos. It also includes dynamic theater surround sound and various other sound modes, so that way you can dial in a specific sound signature depending on the content that you're consuming. Let's wrap up this video. Like I said, this is not a review. I simply wanted to overview several of the features that I've come to love about this TV. Not only that, but once I saw the price of this TV, given its performance, this is a no-brainer. This is definitely a solid re-entry into the US market from Panasonic, and I can't wait to see what they do in the future, especially with their partnership with Amazon. Let me know what you think of the Panasonic W95A down in the comments below. If you're interested in picking one up or learning more about this specific model, you can find links in the description as well as the pinned comment. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing for more content just like this. And outside of that, I'll see you beautiful people in the next one.